Hello, everyone. My name is Zena D'Souza George, and today I'm excited to walk with you guys and talk to you guys about my presentation on a 2024 article that dives deep into a powerful and timely topic. So, my topic is titled For Good Sake Strategic Social Media Influencer Communication in Nonprofit Organizations, authored by Felix R. Simon. And this article was published in the Journal of Communication Management in 2024. This article is ICA affiliated, which means it's backed up by the International Communication Association, which is a great indicator of quality and relevance. So let's go ahead and jump into the first slide here. So the introduction slide. So why does this matter? Influencers are no longer just tools for brand marketing and just solely stuck to doing videos and content on social media. Influencers are now becoming central figures in nonprofit communication strategies. And this shift really matters because, especially in a world saturated with content, like I know everyone sees that. I know everyone gets on Snapchat. I know everyone gets on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Like, as soon as you open up your social media page, it is someone posting some sort of content. So even in a world saturated with content, it's about cutting through the noise and, doing it ethically and effectively. And for me, this topic really does hit close to home because, like my last presentation, you guys are probably going to hear me tie back a lot of things to myself, because with my background in journalism and with me having my podcast right now, it has truly taught me how storytelling can create real emotional connections. Because when you post content and when you post yourself out there, you are opening up a can of worms and really making yourself vulnerable to the content and the things that you're posting. So with me having my podcast, I can truly understand how this is creating real and emotional and real engagement with your audience. And this is especially super important because in nonprofit space where engagement can translate directly into action, donations, volunteers, and awareness. With nonprofit organizations, they are usually looking for influencers who support the cause that they are trying to, push out and put out there for people. So, with them having influencers and content creators helping do this, these things turn into donations, volunteer, and it just brings more awareness to the cause that is at hand. So, just a little bit of the article overview. If none of you had the chance to read the article, I know Professor Favors wanted us to post the article about 2 weeks before, so that everyone else in the class would have time to read it. But no worry, guys, I have y'all covered. So, the article explores how nonprofits strategically use influencers to communicate their mission, inspire trust, and drive participation, and to reach and engage with the audience that they are trying to reach. It addresses what strategies work, how influencers are selected, and how these choices impact public engagement. Because with nonprofit organizations, if you are not reaching people and engaging people, people are going to pass right by it. So it's very, very important that they have genuine responses and truly are reaching the people. And I'm going to dive deeper into that as we go on here in the PowerPoint. I'll go ahead and go to the next slide. So research questions. So some of the key questions that were explored in the study that I read was one of them was how do nonprofit organizations select influencers? So for a nonprofit organization, you don't want to select influencers who are doing it solely just for the money and doing it, for their own benefit. You want influencers who really support the cause and really care about the issue, the problem, and the message at hand. So when nonprofit organizations are choosing influencers, you want to make sure that you are picking influencers who truly are able to reach an audience and are genuine about the cause at hand, because if you choose someone who doesn't really care about the cause or, the problem at hand, people are going to see that, because again, when you post on social media, you are super vulnerable and you are giving people an open door to judge you and to really, look deep into your videos and try to be like, oh, her demeanor changed, or I can tell she doesn't really care about this, or she's just doing this for the money. So it's important, especially for nonprofit organizations, when selecting influencers, they are selecting the right type of influencers. So the next one was, what types of messaging strategies do influencers use to promote nonprofit goals? So a couple different, a couple different messages that influencers can use to promote nonprofit goals. Like, say for example, if it's a nonprofit organization about turtles. I live in Corpus Christi, Texas, so there are a lot of organizations and groups and nonprofits that help to clean the beaches, keep the beaches clean. So that I'll tie my example back to something. So say for example, we are trying to advocate and pull together a nonprofit organization to help the turtles that are hatching and trying to make their way to the ocean, to save them from getting tied up in plastic trash on the beach, or seagulls and birds that are trying to kill them before they make it to the water. Let's say for instance an influencer goes to the beach and they take videos of the turtles, or the influencer is showing that, oh, they're helping the turtles get across to the water at that, or that they're actually like, they're trying to push the cause. These are the type of messages that nonprofits have to look out for. The type of influencers, I'll keep saying it again. You can hire an influencer, you can hire a content creator, but if that influencer or that content creator doesn't truly care about the cause at hand, people are going to see that, and sometimes it's going to reflect in bad messaging. So messages should be clear, they should be concise, and they should be genuine, depending on what type of cause that they're promoting at hand. And another question was, how do these strategies impact trust and audience engagement? Again, if that influencer is not genuinely for that cause, or if they don't care about the situation at hand, people are going to see that. I even look through it. Some influencers on social media, I can tell that it's fake and that they're just doing it for the money. So just to make sure that they are building trust and audience engagement, just to make sure that it's genuine. No one wants to watch a fake influencer. I know I don't. So the theoretical framework. So the article is grounded in three key theoretical lenses. So number one is persuasion theory, and this particularly is relevant when we consider how influencers can shape beliefs and behaviors, because again, messaging is everything. And if you are trying to sell a donkey but your words are persuasive enough, you can make someone believe that you're selling them a horse but you're selling them a donkey. If y'all are like catching my flow, catching how I'm trying to explain it, just so that everyone's understanding. So persuasion theory is very, very important. You can tell someone 100 lies, but if you're persuasive and your wording is on point and you know how to relay the message, you can really shape beliefs and people's behavior. You can truly change a lot, depending on how persuasive you are. And then the second one was relationship management theory. So this focuses on building long-term trust between the organization and its publics. You don't want influencers that are Minutemans, just trying to make a quick buck. You want people who are going to reach the audience that you are trying to reach and build long-term trust with them, so that they can, continuously support you and support whatever cause that you are putting out as a nonprofit organization. And then the third one is strategic communication. So this is just emphasizing the importance of audience-centered and mission-aligned messaging. So my next slide, methodology. So Simon used a qualitative content analysis approach focusing on interviews with social media influencers and nonprofit communication managers. Now, this dual perspective and you having the mindset and the different tools from a social media influencer, and then having the ideas and that solid nonprofit communication views on it, having this dual perspective method, I believe, it provides valuable insight into how both the strategy and execution of influencer partnerships, and how it affects the public eye as well. So a couple key findings, after reading this, I found that authenticity is everything, in everything that you do. No one wants fake influencers. No one wants people who aren't truly passionate about the things that they're saying. Like for this presentation, for example, you guys watching this, you will probably either say, I can tell that she truly read this article and she got feedback from it, and she truly does, have a passion for what she's saying, and she's truly trying to get her word across and, get the word out to us. So authenticity is everything. And influencers who genuinely believe in the cause perform better. And I agree with this so much. Because again, y'all are going to hear me tie everything back to myself, because I have my hands in a lot of things and I dabble in a lot of different things. My podcast being one of them. And for me, truly having a love for my podcast and truly wanting to help people and reach people, it makes me perform better. If I'm just doing a podcast just because I want to sit and hear myself talk, it's not genuine. It's not authentic. So authenticity is everything. It's everything. And behind the scenes content, that is another one. People don't always want to see everything polished. They don't always want to see everything perfect. None of us are perfect. Nobody's perfect. No one wants to hear about perfectionists all the time. People want to see the real you. We are all humans. We mess up, we make mistakes, we get angry. No one wants to see the perfect you all the time. And there's a lot of content creators who are like that, who are just, Miss Perfect. For me, I want to see people who are real and raw. And for myself and my podcast, I post real and raw. I rarely even edit my podcast. I'll record a 30 to 45 minute podcast and I will, edit a little bit and I will post it on. And some people, they go in and they cut in certain things and they do this and they cut out certain words and they fix this and they change that. I am not one of those people. I want people to really be engaged and know that, I am a real person. I want them to feel like we're on FaceTime on the phone talking with each other. And the same, for influencers who are being hired by these nonprofit organizations, behind the scenes content is everything. Like this truly does foster deeper engagement. And, this will help, when they're trying to promote and post certain things. And then another thing is transparency. Transparency is very, very vital in any type of anything that you're doing. Transparency is so important, whether it's a co-worker relationship, a real relationship, a marriage, girlfriend, boyfriend, you're doing content, you're doing podcasting, you're a mobile journalist, you're in a work setting, you're a professor, whatever. Transparency is so important, because it not only builds credibility, but you are able to build trust with your audience, because people can sniff out a lie. I know for myself, I'm one of those people who can sniff out a lie. So it's very, very important to have transparency in anything that you're doing, not just this specifically, but transparency is so important. I could talk about a whole presentation about transparency and being authentic with people, but that's for another day. So strategic implications. So from a strategic standpoint, nonprofits should do things like, prioritize influencers who are genuinely aligned with their mission and values. We shouldn't be looking for influencers who have all the millions of followers and, we're just all about the money. You want to pick wisely, and you want to pick the influencers who truly care about that cause, and they have that confidence and that push to truly you know align their values with the mission and engage with their audience, and reach more people. You don't want people who are just doing it for the money. You want people who are genuine, and you want people who actually care about the cause, because you can't hire an influencer to talk about world hunger, and that person doesn't even care about world hunger and doesn't care if children will die of starvation or not. So you just have to choose wisely when it comes to that, on a strategic standpoint for nonprofit organizations, to be exact. And another one, to focus on storytelling rather than traditional marketing language. People don't always want to hear, you know, typed up. How when you're reading some stuff and you can tell that it was typed up by AI, or if it's just was typed up by, in that marketing language. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. A lot of people want to hear storytelling. They don't always want to hear it perfectly concise, PowerPoint by PowerPoint. They want it more storytelling because it engages people more, in my opinion. And to provide influencers with training and guidelines for ethical and consistent messaging. Some influencers are very raw and they say whatever, but specifically for nonprofit organizations, you want to make sure that you are training them, and they know the guidelines, and to, just to make sure they keep it ethical and that they have consistent messaging so that none of the audience, they don't get confused on the real reason and the real push for the cause at hand. So personal reflection. This article really resonated with me because of my work as a reporter and a podcast host. I know how impactful and how well told a story can be. And I promise you all, I have seen firsthand how being real, being authentic with your audience, and not just polished messaging, but being real and raw and very authentic, how it can truly move people and impact others. And this study confirmed that strategic storytelling isn't just effective, but it's necessary. And so, future applications. So, just looking ahead, the article did suggest that forming long-term influencer partnerships for sustained engagement. You don't want to switch out influencers and switch out different people. That's why it's important that when you're choosing influencers, like it said in the previous slide, you want to make sure that they care about the cause and that they're genuine about it. So just to make sure that they build long-term, influencer partnerships. And then shifting from vanity metrics, like views and likes, to more impact-based metrics. And then recognizing the evolving role of communication professionals in shaping these partnerships and strategies. So, the conclusion. In conclusion, nonprofit organizations can harness the power of influencer communication, but only when it's strategic, ethical, and authentic. As communicators, as journalists, as reporters, whatever it is that you're doing, because we're all in this course to help us become better communicators in whatever job field, whatever aspect that we are wanting to do in life. So it's up to us to craft these messages in ways that connect deeply and drive real change. Because I know for me, I don't want to just wake up just living life, going through life. I want to wake up and have a purpose. I don't know about me. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I know me. I want to drive real change and reach and help other people. So that is going to end my presentation today. This is another topic that I was so happy to talk about because it seems like from my first presentation to this one, I found so many articles that have resonated best with me, and I'm just so happy to be able to talk about it. I absolutely love this class, and I truly do love presentations. So thank you all so much for listening, and I would love to open the floor to any questions or any thoughts that you may have. So if you guys could give me some feedback and utilize the chat, that Professor Favors provided us with, so that, you know, we can stay engaged. Because although we are, you know, in our own worlds, doing our own things behind our laptops and phones, this is a way that we are still able to stay engaged. So thank you guys for listening, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Bye bye.